All right, guys, welcome back. In this video, we're going to actually start the process of that vaccination, that immunization of just your anxiety. And so what that means is we're going to be introducing a methodology, a way to go about introducing the thoughts or hitting the thoughts directly of what your anxieties are about, really moving a lot of those fears from subconscious thought into conscious thought so that we are able to understand what the nature of those anxieties are about and what to do with them. And so we're going to start the process so that we can really dig in and dive deep into how we build resiliency. So what I'm going to do in this particular video is introduce a basically something that's called the what if game. It's a way to really dive into and pinpointing what the specific nature of our anxieties are about. And so the basic structure of a what if game is to start asking key questions that begin to unveil, to reveal what our core fears are about. So when you're thinking about the current situation that you're in as it relates to coronavirus, and that could be anything. It doesn't have to be specifically around the virus itself, but the impact that the virus has and the ripple effect that it has. So when you think about the anxieties that you're experiencing around all that stuff, the first question to ask, as it relates to what it is that you're going through, is what could happen? What is the worst thing that could happen right now? And that might not be one thing, it might be a list of things, but that starts a process. We begin the inoculation process by saying, hey, what happens if? And so when you start thinking through that question, it could be like, well, what could happen if I lose my job? What could happen if I get the virus? What does that mean for my family? What are we going to do? It might not even be a life or death situation, but it just might be like, how are we going to live? And how are we going to find solutions to problems that we're not prepared for? It could be something as simple as that. But the point of the question, the what if game, is to start asking key questions around the worst case scenarios. And when you have kind of like your top 10 or top 5, whatever list of, hey, these are the worst things that can happen, that begins the process of the immunization process. And so the next questions that we'll ask when we have, hey, these are the worst things that can happen, what if they did happen? What if these things actually did play through? Would you be okay? Not that you need to necessarily have a plan for that or you need to figure out what to do, but the real question is, do you believe that if those things happen, that at the end of the day, that you'll be okay? Now, that is a hard question to answer, particularly if it goes to catastrophic thinking. If you're thinking about the very worst case scenarios, usually the worst case scenarios are the worst case because they feel catastrophic in the end of the answer. And so really thinking through what those questions are and then ask the question of would I be okay? Really, that's all we're doing right now is we're bringing those thoughts into the forefront, and we don't need to have a solution for that. We don't need to have the immunization for that, because all we're doing right now is we're introducing, again, that virus to be able to say, okay, let's talk about what that thought is, what the real core of it is. And in the next few steps of these videos that we'll go through, we'll start building that immunity to say, okay, can we build a tolerance for that? But really, if the answers to the questions right now are like, hey, this is what could happen, and right now I don't feel like I'd be okay, I think that would be pretty much the crappiest thing that could happen. That's okay. I mean, that's part of what we want to do, is to create that space to be able to put those thoughts and feelings into, so that we can at least begin to understand them and evaluate them a little better. But that's how we bring all those things to the forefront. Start going through the questions yourself. What could happen if? And what's the worst thing that can happen? And would I be okay? Once you have that list, then we have something to work with. But basically, that's the inoculation. Imagine that's like, yeah, you're getting injected with an anxiety flu shot, and we're introducing some of those weakened forms of the thoughts and the fears, so that you can begin to start developing that resistance, that immunity to it. But it is going to require getting a little bit sick and a little bit weakened on the front end, so that we can actually start building that. So that's the idea, and that's the process. In the next few videos, we'll start to unpack that a little bit more, but go ahead and start, if you're willing to do the work, take that shot and start working through some of the thoughts and fears that kind of go behind your anxieties. So hope that helps, and definitely tune into the next video, because that's when we start digging into some of the actual recovery work, okay? Thanks for listening, and hope to see you guys in the next video.